Marvel Rivals has been out for a few weeks now, giving us enough time to figure out what works and what doesn't. With the team-up abilities and the ban system in higher ranks, there's a lot of nuances to most of these characters. So to really understand why I've put certain character in a certain rank, make sure to also listen to my reasoning rather than just focusing blindly on its placements. If you want to share your own opinion, you're free to do so in the comment section. And with that, have fun. Alright guys, this is the tier list. I think these characters are really strong. When we talk about good characters, we have to differentiate between banning system and non-banning system characters. Because obviously characters that are really good are getting banned, such as Hela is almost always banned, same with Psylocke. So these are the ones I'm gonna instantly put into S tier, just because they are usually getting banned for a good reason. If you are below Diamond, playing these two heroes as your DPS hero pool is absolutely insanely good. So much pressure with Hela, she can be played in so many poke compositions, you can foster slow playstyle, and the same with Psylocke. The ultimates from both characters are super strong. Not as much from Hela, since usually you're much better at kiting that and people are getting more adjusted to it and they don't randomly run into it. But the zoning potential on point is super strong still. So, you know, if you use the ultimate correctly, it's really good. Psylocke is a similar case. Psylocke is usually the ultimate that always forces at least one support ultimate. And in a game where supports are dominating with Luna and Mantis, that ultimate is absolutely crazy. So, and usually sometimes you might still get lucky and get a kill, even through a support ultimate. Adam Warlock is really strong as well. This is like a niche thing. Team-ups are everything. In this game, if you have team-ups, you should always play team-ups. Team-ups are absolutely crazy in any scenario, so such as Adam and Star-Lord. Adam, Star-Lord, and Mantis are crazy team-ups. Double rest for supports, triple rest. You can feed your brains out in the first fight and have 3 times the resources of the opponent. Can get entry picked, it doesn't matter since you get rest. Absolutely crazy, insane. I'm gonna put him in A tier just because S tier is literally the ones that would usually get played if they weren't banned. Usually you ban Hela, Psylocke, or Luna, and then play Adam, Star-Lord, Mantis, Iron Man, Hulk, and Strange. That's usually what you play. And then you have the best combination in the game probably, because it's really hard to beat. I mean, Hawkeye is not that strong against it just because Hulk puts so much pressure on you and you cannot really kill him in time, because there's just too much damage on you and Iron Man just flies in and beams you everyone down. So very strong combination. Next up we got Iron Fist. Iron Fist is not that strong. Iron Fist is on theory strong, and I know in lower elo especially, and I played against it. It seems to be really strong, but it actually isn't that crazy if you think about it all the way. On theory it seems strong, but it's actually not that strong at all compared to the other characters and the link up of the other characters. I don't really see the value of Iron Fist, I'm sorry. I think there's better characters that are much more threatening. Next up we got Iron Man. Iron Man is a super good hero, as I said before, but only under the condition that Hela is getting banned. If Hela is in the game, Iron Man is useless. It's actually useless. So for lower rated players, if you start out in like below Diamond, playing Iron Man can be quite okay, since the Hela players aren't usually that good, but like as I said, you get completely controlled. But the playstyle with Iron Man, the matchup with Hulk, Strange, and Iron Man is just absolutely crazy. That's why I would put him in A tier, just because of that link up. Next up we got Shark. Shark is not that strong. Shark is like only good on one map. It's the spider map where the spider crawls across and where you can be thrown off the map. Only there Shark is good, to be honest, because basically on that map it has the easiest access out of the map, right, to fall off the map. Therefore Shark is good there because you have the lowest amount of duration that you need to carry someone to the edge to throw someone off with your ultimate. That's why Shark is strong there. Every other map has just too long duration, and additionally on that map that I'm talking about, the card is also always forced to move along the edge of the map, so it's much easier to get huge ults there. That's why only on this map specific Shark is usually being played. I don't see him that strong anymore. You kind of are forced to ban either Luna or Mantis to be able to play Shark. This gives you an idea why I don't think he's strong. Loki is a similar case. I personally believe Loki can be strong, but I think the link up is not that strong because you rarely find the case where you die before the Hela against dive compositions, right? Because usually the playstyle against Hela is you don't want to get poked out during a long fight. Usually you want to run over Hela with a composition if you play melee characters into Hela, because Hela doesn't have that good survivability after you use your shift. So for that you usually die first, and therefore the link up and the matchup, the team chemical between Thor, Hela and Loki is very bad. Therefore I would put Loki in C tier as well. I don't see how he's that strong. His ability, his like immortality ability, it's really strong with his clones, but I just think everything is dominated by ult fights, and Loki just doesn't have it in the mid fights to control and win the fight. We always, when we talk about these tier lists, we need to consider the optimal value, right? The optimal value and when it's perfectly played as well. In example, you can just wait out the Loki heals, and afterwards he's just not gonna have the resources to sustain the brawl fight, right? That's gonna happen because brawl fight is absolutely meta in this game. Diving is very, very unusual, and poke composition is more common to find in ranked just because it's easier than brawling someone. But for that, Loki just doesn't fit that playstyle that wins against this, and that's why I feel like that. Next up, we got Luna Snow. I mean, Luna Snow is the absolute best of the best support by far. Always want to ban. I know people say Mantis is better. I get it. The sleep is crazy, but 12-second transcendence. You are unkillable almost. It's much easier to kill Mantis during ult. I know, guys, you guys are complaining about this tier list because of they're complaining about the fact that I said Iron Fist is D tier, but trust me when I say this, Iron Fist appears to be good in low rank because people are less coordinated, therefore Iron Fist gets more value. Just because it's a very simple, easy character to get value. All you have to learn is just like your coordination so you don't die, and then you walk up and you punch someone. This is like literally it. There's not a lot of skill ceiling on this character, in my opinion, and I additionally think like as soon as you play against somewhat of a good team and they coordinate and shoot you together, you just instantly die. Because you're forced to go close and you don't do enough damage over the short period of time, and you don't have an ability that CCs or stuns or does anything of value for your own team, and always you force a fight where your team needs to engage with you. Those are like all conditions that lead to Iron Fist not being good, at least in an environment where he's like high rank, right? Luna Snow is absolutely crazy. As I said, the freeze is insane, 6 seconds I think. Ultimate is crazy, right? 12-second ultimate, survivability, 35% damage boost. The only downside, of course, of the ultimate is that you cannot damage while ulting. So that is actually a huge downside, which gives Mantis a big edge over Luna, which we come to later. But yeah, ultimately, I think this is the best support by far, just because of the ultimate. It's so strong. The neutral fight, you have good abilities to survive yourself. You have the piercing effect with the ability. The only issue with this character is basically that you're super squishy, so you gotta keep that sleep dot for some certain heroes. But when you think about optimal playstyle, you would think that a good team can be able to peel you and be able to control the angles, so you're not easily accessible to dive. Magic up next. Magic absolutely crazy. I mean, again, same condition as Iron Man. You kind of need Hela to be banned for Magic to pop off. But when that is the case, Magic is super, super strong. Very, very strong character, even for ranked. I would always recommend picking that up as a melee character. Next up is Magneto. Magneto is probably the easiest tank to play in ranked. In a tournament environment, I think Doctor Strange is obviously always the more considered pick, but for the flexibility and solo tanking and everything, I think Magneto is the best tank because it has the biggest potential to get kills with ultimate, even through support ultimates, which is usually what you coordinate the fight around, right? So you get chances to kill people early of the fight with your ultimate. You can deny Punisher completely with Magneto. It's just a lot of good matchups for him, even though he doesn't have the link up. He's probably the only character that, same with Magic, that don't gain a lot from the link up, and Luna. Okay, there's a lot more characters. And Psylocke. Okay, guys, and Hela. Okay, I see it. But these are the... Okay, I see that. Yeah, but like these are individually really, really well designed characters to play in ranked. that you get a lot of value from. With Magneto, I recommend if you have a second tank, you shouldn't frontline, you should flank a lot and deny the backline. Don't shoot the opponent tanks, since shooting the opponent tanks only feeds the best ultimates in the game, which is the support ultimates. This is a very, very common and important concept. You don't want to shoot the opponent tanks too much with Magneto. You need to do it mid-fight, of course, always, right? But entry of the fight where you just poke, it's really bad to poke out the opponent tanks. That's usually really, really bad. Or, like, besides if you can't shoot anything else. I'm talking about the defensive scenario, right? If you're on defense. Next up, we got Mantis. Mantis is super interesting character. Basically because, as I said, she's on the same level as Luna, but I personally think she's worse just because her ultimate duration. And she is very much more killable during her ultimate. I feel like right now we don't really see that Mantis can be killed, but as we proceed, I think she is indeed very squishy and she can actually be killed during it. So I feel like if people get better and people are having more focus fire and are more likely to be able to shoot the same character more, we're more likely to see Mantis getting entry picked during her ultimate, or her ultimate getting cancelled. There's so many abilities that can one-shot, especially other ultimates, and therefore she's very under a lot of pressure. But of course, nonetheless, Mantis is absolutely strong. Ultimate, you still get to play the game after when you ultimate. 8 seconds of infinite health duration to your team. Basically another sustain that cannot be killed. So, and a sleep dart, or like an ability that puts other people to sleep or puts other people under sedation. I don't know how you want to call it, for a long duration. So very good. Both of them always needs to be played in lower elo, especially. That's why usually you see these kind of characters getting banned. Magneto, not that often, but yeah, these characters are getting banned. Next up, we got Moon Knight. Moon Knight is insanely strong, especially in the earlier days now. I think as we proceed, we're gonna see less and less Moon Knight. Just because I think he's actually very, very diveable. Same with Hela. He has a similar playstyle of Hela since you want to play for poke, and the ultimate of his is just stronger than Hela's, to be honest, in higher rank. Just because it does cover a shorter area, but it is way, way easier to cast and way faster. And like denying an area is more important over that short period of time than it is for Hela for the longer period that Hela is in the sky. Also, it's not as easy defendable as Hela's, right? Because you can hide behind natural cover. You can block it with Doctor Strange if you fly into it. There's a multiple ways to deny Hela ult, and you can out-heal it with other ultimates. But like this ultimate basically also forces a reaction from the opponent much, much harder than Hela. So therefore, I do think the Moon Knight ult is insanely strong. Other than that, he has a good kit. You can shoot the cross to take care of, get your ultimate up pretty quickly. Absolutely crazy character. Namor, same case. Namor, absolutely strong. I think one of the best deniers when it comes to flanking characters. If you play against Black Panther, if you play against Psylocke, if you play against Spider-Man, if you play against all these melee characters that usually want to get close to your team, Namor is just super strong because of his turrets, because they actually are threatening to the melee characters. If you place them in a way that they protect your backline, right? If you don't want them to get dived. So that's kind of like the playstyle here. And the ultimate is also really strong. It denies a huge area and it stuns additionally, so very good character in general. Next up, Black Panther. I think Black Panther is one of the niche cases where he's good on some maps. He's absolutely crazy sometimes, and in ranked, for sure, there's insane Black Panthers players. I feel like a lot of people haven't figured out how to deny it, because usually in order for Black Panther to work, you have to flank a lot and you have to hide a lot. So whenever you have a character where you're forced to be close and positioned close and hide somewhere with the right mindset and at the professional level, you're easy to be scouted, right? So you can just be scouted and then you kind of always forced out and you need to use your resources before you engage, right? That would be the best case scenario if at one point we're good enough where we're able to deny melee characters before they can engage, right? To make sure that we keep them on range, since this is our advantage against them, right? If we don't want to melee ourselves and we want to play slower and more of a poke composition, then we're gonna pick long range characters. And for that, I think Black Panther is a niche character, but nonetheless, he's super strong. Like, I would always recommend checking him out. Does he deserve B tier? Oh, I don't know. There's people that are crazy with him and they get a lot of value, but I'm kind of torn. Like, I feel like if I put Moon Knight into A tier, I need to put Black Panther in there as well. But generally speaking, maybe I put Moon Knight lower. Just because there's so many characters that I'll put in A and S tier, that would just be wrong. So yeah, I'll maybe put them lower, like this. Next up, we got Penny. Penny Parker is one of the best deniers for any kind of tank that is melee, for any kind of DPS that is melee. For that, Penny Parker is super, super good. But for anything else, Penny Parker is not good. That's kind of the issue that I have with this character. I do think it hurts my heart, since I like Penny Parker and I play her a lot. You need to put her in C tier. Just because it hurts me. I can't put her in C tier. I need to put her in. I put her in B tier. Yeah, B tier is fine. Just too good. It's always a good switch into some counters. Like, if you struggle against Thor, if you struggle against Venom, if you struggle against Hulk, if you struggle against like Wolverine, if you struggle against all these melee characters, right, that usually get a lot of value, Penny is just really strong. Next up, we got Racket. Racket, honestly, guys, the Racket link up with Punisher is absolutely crazy. It is. The link up here is insane. So once again, we stand in front of this idea. If you are able to ban, right, and this is important, if you are able to ban Hela, if you're able to ban Luna or Mantis, right, if you ban these characters, then you can play the link up Punisher Raccoon. And that is extremely strong. Same with Bucky Raccoon, right? Both link ups. So I'm gonna put them in A tier, the link up. As I said, I explained it. So both can be good. You know, it depends on the link up. Both are only good in the link up. You need the link up here, but otherwise the Raccoon is usually always a consistent pick. So I would probably opt to say something like this in the meta. I know a lot of people like Bucky, or Winter Soldier he's called, but I think he's not that super strong. He doesn't seem to be doing too much damage over the short period of time, which he should be good for. But Punisher seems to be doing that job much better. Also, I don't like his ultimate. I think Punisher ultimate is way more threatening than Bucky ultimate. I thought this tier list was no link up. No, this is with link ups. Basically, link ups are everything in the game. Next up, we got Scarlet Witch. In the beginning, she was really strong, especially with the Magneto link up. That was when everyone was still playing what was good in beta, since it was good in beta, but nowadays people figured out that's actually really, really weak. So I'm gonna put her probably in D tier. Compared to every other DPS, she's not that good. Same with Spider-Man, and same with Squirrel Girl. Actually, I put it like this. Okay, this is a tough decision. Yeah, Storm as well. You should never pick these heroes currently. The link ups are not good. Not even, you know. So yeah, that's kind of the point where these DPS are at. Star-Lord is next. Star-Lord, as I said, one of the craziest DPS with the link up with Adam. As soon as Hela is banned, as soon as Psylocke is banned, Starlock Adam link up is absolutely crazy. Would recommend. Namor is so good with link up. Yeah, Luna Namor link up also really, really good reason to play that. Next up we got Thor. Thor is probably one of the weaker tanks. You do see sometimes that Thor is being played, therefore I'm gonna put him in C tier, but ultimately he's not a good tank, that's for sure. Widow needs a separate category just because she's so much worse than any other DPS here, but she's definitely the worst DPS. She's fun to play since she's very, very no-brain, but when you come to the realization that you just don't do enough damage over the time that the fight goes, because usually brawl fights and dive fights are dominating the meta right now. It's very hard to play poke, you know, everyone is playing poke, at least in ranked, but when people get to serious competition and people are better at the game, they manage to hide your LOS and then 3-1 peek you together, and suddenly you find 6 people peeking you, and your 120 damage over about 1 second of time from you doesn't do anything to the 6 people walking at you. So yeah, Therefore, it's not very good. Next up, we got Venom. Venom is played in the tournament. I know of it. Guys, people like Venom. He is the main reason for the dive engage. His stun is really good. I think in professional play is good. Solo Venom is very hard to play. I wouldn't recommend picking up Venom for ranked, just because the link up is also not very strong. Venom Penny Parker is usually not a good combination, since they both kind of have the different idea. Penny Parker is usually denying dive engages and playing slow, poking, and Venom is diving, right? Going in, getting an entry pick, saving all cooldowns, getting back out, right? And then resetting cooldowns, going back in, doing the same thing again. And Penny does the counter, the opposite of that. So therefore, the link up is just not there. Therefore, Venom is not that strong in the link up, but in the composition of dive, he's very, very strong. His stun is good. His survivability is good. His engagement is insane. Therefore, I would recommend putting Venom in. It hurts my soul, but I need to put him C as well, I think. But yeah, I'm struggling between B and C tier, but obviously Venom is more like a C tier hero if you want to play ranked. But in a tournament, he's super strong, so. Next up, we got Cloak and Dagger. I think Cloak and Dagger is worse than Adam, Raccoon, Mantis, Luna. That's the main thing. I think if you play Cloak and Dagger, you gotta ban either Luna or Mantis, obviously, right? That's what the S tier is about, right? If we play that, then we gotta ban it. Cloak and Dagger, definitely more like a B tier character rather than anything else. But even then, it's like Loki. You can make some cool plays, you know, you can hide from ultimates, yada yada, but it's not that strong. Your ultimate covers a low area. It basically does nothing if the opponent has somewhat of an idea to kite away from it. If you want to chase opponents with Cloak and Dagger ult, you can't, just because the ult is so tiny in its AoE. Next up, we got niche character Wolverine. A very, very strong tank buster. People love to play him in a good composition. It can be quite threatening, especially in ranked. Therefore, I'm going to put it in high B. But I just think like in a tournament where people are aware and people poke you out from range and stuff, it's hard for you to hide anywhere. Losing HP early is really bad for you. Therefore, I would put him a bit lower. Next up, we got the worst tank in the game, Captain Marvel, Captain America. I always say Captain Marvel. Yeah, definitely the worst tank. Right after Thor, of course. But both of them kind of share the same idea here, just the worst tank. Simple reason, he just doesn't have the pressure and power that other tanks have. Your dive on Captain America is not very strong. Captain is the worst tank, but also the most fun tank. I don't see that idea. Yeah, but it's definitely the worst tank. He just doesn't have the utilities to help his team fight. The link up is also not that strong. Therefore, I don't know why Captain America has no link up with like Doctor Strange or has no link up with Iron Man, an example. Yeah, that would help him maybe get better, but ultimately he's the worst tank in the game. Next up, we got 4 more juicy characters. I'm saying this because here we gotta talk about something. Doctor Strange, absolutely crazy tank, for ranked especially. The TP out of spawn gives you an additional fight usually. Right? If you TP early in the match, you get an additional fight. That alone is already really strong. The ultimate is really strong. Zones so much, even if you don't hit it. Absolutely crazy magic burst damage on the backline. Especially, you usually don't want to shoot the opponent tanks too much with your magic burst. You want to use your magic burst onto squishies, because that forces the other supports to react. And therefore, you split the opponent heals from the tank away. It's like really, really good to use it like that. Because just shooting the tank just feeds support ults at the end of the day. And you don't really want to do that. Doctor Strange for ranked, absolutely insane. Same with Magneto. Magneto is just crazy. And here we have the Doctor Strange link up again. Doctor Strange, Iron Man link up with Hulk, right? I'm gonna say this now because I want to put Hulk first. Hulk is probably the best tank to play with Doctor Strange. Because then, once you have Hulk, you can play that controlling slow play style that you usually can never play. For that to work, you gotta ban Hela and you gotta ban Luna. Because then you can play Iron Man, Hulk, Doctor Strange, Adam, Mantis, and Star-Lord. That is the best combination in the game right now. I'm pretty sure of that. You can call me wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that is the best combination. So for that, I would recommend that. But generally speaking, for ranked, he is not that strong as solo ranked. I think these two tanks solo ranked is much, much better for you. And in general, so when we make a tier list about ranked, what you should play in ranked, those are the heroes that you should probably play. And now we come to Hawkeye. Hawkeye super strong in ranked. In Fury, at a certain rank, he gets much worse. Just because he's so insurvivable, and the ultimate is actually bad. He doesn't have a good ultimate. And in a game where there's 12 ultimates in the game that control the entire field because you charge it so fast, you keep 50% ultimate when you switch, and when you get cancelled, you also keep 50% ultimate on most characters. For that alone, a character with bullshit ultimate, no survivability because you don't have a good movement cooldown, it's not good. The character Hawkeye is not good at a higher level, in my opinion. I think a lot of people ban Hawkeye unjustified. I honestly say that in high rank. I think a lot of people just are too afraid, but of course you gotta understand, in ranked especially, people are not able to dive as coordinated as they would be if they are like fully voice comming, fully together, playing together. Everyone knows what they have to do, not peek randomly, because that way you would get yourself poked out. Getting poked out means you have less resources for the engage if you want to dive someone. All of that combined makes the character a lot stronger in ranked. But I think in a competitive environment, there's almost never a reason to ban Hawkeye. Just because the character is not as strong as people make him out to be. Just because people are having a very hard time diving against this hero, especially in lower rank. So that, I'm going to put him in A tier, right? But let this be known for you guys. Next up, we got Groot. Also a great character for any elo. Super strong. His wards, his ultimate, absolutely good character. Link up with Racket as well. You know, Racket Shark link up. Could be enough reason to play him. So yeah, that's the tier list. I think that was a good one. I hope you guys have good games in ranked. You can use that tier list as you want. I'm gonna put this tier list on Twitter. Moonlight's so low. What do you mean low? He's pretty high, I would say, compared to other DPS that are. There's so many DPS in lower tier that, yeah. I think additionally to the last words here is probably to say these characters here that I put to this tier. You can say one of the supports needs to be last tier, but I think playing triple support is better than either of these DPS. Triple support is probably better than either of these DPS or Captain America. Just because support is so broken with ultimates. Like, I think playing DPS here over these supports is stupid. So that's why the tier list is like this. Moon Knight is OP. Yeah, Moon Knight is not bad, I gotta say. Like, I was like going back and forth between putting him in A tier, but there's like Moon Knight players, but also there's like Black Panther players. So if we want to change anything, we would probably change Magic to Moon Knight. That would probably be what I would also agree to, if we want to change anything. But still, Magic is a super strong pick. Adam is super good because of the link up. Mantis gets res, Adam gets res, Star-Lord gets res. That's crazy. Ultimate, the abilities are good. The link up is crazy. Especially when you ban healer. You ban healer, link up's crazy. Like, you should genuinely play these characters here. You see these? This is probably the easiest comp to get out of like your elo. If you're below diamond, below bans, then this is probably the best comp that you should play in the top. Made sure that I put 2 tanks here, 2 supports, 2 DPS. So when we talk about high rank, you know, we talk about competitiveness, we talk about bans, we talk about optimal situations. We talk about people knowing how to dive, people knowing not to randomly peek when they dive, to not lose cooldowns early so their dive is less effective, everything of that. I think I agree to this. It's probably better like this than the other way around, just because I'm not happy though. I'm not happy. Magic is good. I know it's good. That's the issue. But it's not. Yeah, okay. Okay. You win. I'm putting it like this. Alright, I thought about it. You win. This is the final result. There's no changing it. Probably, okay, there is changing it. This is the final result. This is it.